let us talk about the Yongnuo YN14EX. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we have the Yongnuo Ring Flash model number YN14EX. This is a macro ring flash specifically made for macro and close-up photography. In this video, we will be looking for what kind of pictures and for whom this is going to be beneficial for. Of course, we will be doing the unboxing, look at the technical specifications. We will also see how this flash is going to be beneficial when we are shooting outdoors, maybe a flower or an insect. We will review this product according to the experiences that we had, and then we will conclude upon whether this is a correct equipment for you or if you can skip this. Yongnuo did not sponsor this video, neither they provided us this flash, and hence the review is going to be unbiased and the opinion shared are our own depending on the experience we had of using this flash. So let us unbox this and see the contents. It comes with a nice carry case and the flash itself. So we have some silica packets. Of course, we have the user manual, the flash itself has clear mention for the controls, looks good. What we will need is, we have some rings to mount the flash on different lenses. So we have 72mm, we have 52mm, we have 67mm and 58mm. So they are covering all the popular lens diameters for mounting on the flash. The content looks good. The popular flash that we are used to seeing is the normal flash that we attach on the hot shoe of the camera. This is quite an amazing flash, no doubt, but whenever we are doing macro or close-up photography, the issue is as we go close to the subject, the light from the flash casts the shadow of the lens on our subject, which is not a very good thing whenever we are doing macro photography. So in order to overcome this situation, this is the solution, the ring flash. Everything is pretty much the same. All the electronics are housed in this enclosure, whereas the light itself, the xenon tube, those are mounted here. Because of this, even if we go close to the subject, the biggest advantage is this is not going to cast any shadow on our subject. This creates a nice flat lighting. That is the advantage that we see with this particular flash, and that is the reason why it is ideal for macro or close-up photography.
When shooting indoors, what may happen is the light may not be adequate. If we are shooting a product like this, the jewelry that we have here, sometimes we want higher depth of field in order to show all the intricate work that we may have on the jewelry. So in order to do this, we prefer shooting on a higher f number. But because the aperture gets narrower, the amount of light coming in is going to reduce, resulting in a handshake. Let me show you. Currently, I have the camera set on f16, a narrow aperture. Let us see what happens. As you saw, the shutter speed was quite slow. A simple solution to this is by increasing the ISO. So yes, I'll go ahead and I'll simply increase the ISO. Now, The highest ISO that we can use depends on the quality of the camera that we have, because we know that not every camera will produce low noise even at a higher ISO. I have set 1600 ISO on this camera. Let us see what shutter speed we get. Now, I have definitely got a faster shutter speed, but the issue is there is noise. One of the solution to both the issues that we faced earlier is a flash. This is a ring flash which is specifically meant for close-up and macro photography. The advantage is because it is a flash, it avoids camera shake. And because it is a source of light, yes, it creates a controlled lighting for our pictures. So let us see what effect we get using this particular flash with the desired setting that we need. This is definitely a better picture than what we got previously.
The advantage that we get with this kind of a flash setup for macro photography are many. To name a few, what we can do is, we are now not restricted with a slow shutter speed. Why? Because we have an external light source and we have a flash. Flash will always freeze the movement of a subject, and because of that, even in a windy condition, what will happen is the flash is going to freeze the movement. We will not get a moving or a shaky image. That is the advantage that we will get. In case of macro photography, because we are very close to the subject, the depth of field becomes extremely shallow. Shallow depth of field is preferred, but what may happen is because of an extreme close distance between the lens and the subject, the entire subject may not come sharp. In order to get a higher depth of field so that the entire subject is sharp, we can increase the f number. In doing so, without a flash setup, we get a very slow shutter speed, resulting in a shaky image. With the help of a flash, since we are using a source of light, we can avoid that. We can keep a faster shutter speed, we can still keep a higher f number for a better depth of field, and still with the help of the flash, we can avoid camera shake. We can still get a sharp image with sufficient depth of field of our choice. Even if this flash has been specifically designed for macro or close-up photography, we know this, that a creative photographer can never be stopped in using the equipment, and so is this flash as well. We can use this flash even for creative portraits.
Whenever we use the ordinary on-camera flash, the issue that we face is, since it creates a harsh light, it creates shadows on the subject as well as on the background. The advantage here with a ring flash is, it is a bigger source of light, creating a softer light. And the best thing, it creates a nice light on the subject and no shadows on the subject's background. Let me show you what I am trying to say. The image that you see here on the screen is a beautiful picture with a nice even lighting on the subject's face without the uneven shadows or the ugly shadows that we generally see with a on-camera flash.
Talking about the technical specifications of this flash has a power output measured in guide number, which is 14 meters at 100 ISO. In case of macro, since we are quite close to the subject, the power output of this flash was sufficient in our use experience. This flash can be used in the iTTL or what Canon calls the eTTL mode. So if you are comfortable with using the flash in completely automatic mode, you can use it that way. Or if you are comfortable with using manual mode, we can set the power output of this flash from a full power, which is 1/1, to all the way down to 1/64, which is sufficient in most use case scenarios. One advantage that we get with this particular flash is, since the tube is divided in two parts, we have an option of setting a ratio of power output between this side and this side. We can set both of them on 1:1, that is equal power from both of them, which creates a flat image, to all the way down to 1:8 or 8:1. This can give a good depth to the images that we take. The color output of this flash is 5600 Kelvin, which is almost white light, and this is a nice thing as it does not give a color cast to the images that we take, and that is what we had in our experience as well. To power up this flash, we need 4 AA batteries. The flash recycle time of this flash is 3 seconds. So the time we have to wait between two shots when we fire the flash at full power is going to be 3 seconds, which is sufficient for macro photography in our experience. This flash weighs about 420 grams, and because the electronics and the flash tube are housed separately, in our experience we felt this to be well balanced. After using this particular ring flash for about a month, it was a good overall experience. What we felt after using this flash extensively was that the power output of this flash is very nice. Even if it is 14 meters at 100 ISO, it is a decent flash for macro photography since we are quite close to the subject most of the time. We felt that the power output that we can control manually, which is restricted to 1/64, could be a bit lower to 1/128 as well. That would have given a better control, because in a situation where the overall light is quite a lot, or if the subject is bright enough, the 1/64 is not sufficient. We need to cut down the light a bit more. What else we liked about this particular light is how the xenon flash tubes are. They are quite big in size, unlike others which are a bit small, which creates a bit harsh light. So this is nice. The continuous lights that we have here would have been more helpful had they been more brighter. The overall design of this flash is quite nice, but perhaps the build would have been a bit nicer because we can still see some gaps between the battery compartment. The overall layout and the setting control that we have is quite nice and easy to understand, and that makes a job easier, because otherwise you would constantly have to refer to the user manual to understand what buttons do what function. What we really liked was the flash recycle time. At 3 seconds on full power is not at all bad. It is quite good, since most of the time, especially if you are closer to the subject, you would not be firing at full power. So it gives a pretty decent flash performance. What we felt quite helpful was, while shooting, you need not always use it as it is. What we can always do is, if you use the flash this way, that is off camera, you can create a more angular light. Should you go for this? It all depends on what genre of photography you practice. If you are into close-ups and macros, definitely this is a very good investment. Why? Because with this equipment, what can you do? You can get total control over the lighting. You can get a good control over the depth of field. You can always avoid camera shake or the subject movement because of the wind. And this is a decent piece of equipment which looks good to last for quite a long time.